But now your reputation is wherever you go in the world, you get on with everyone. The reputation you have, be it in Africa or the people I know in the Americas, it's like, Kiki she's just so easygoing.
Oh, thank
So no
you.
surprise that you had a good time in London, but
Yeah.
you historically say you love the energy of the people, you feed off the energy of the people. You have
Yeah.
this new record, you're about to do a virtual tour. um how is that really going to work, because you love the energy of the people
Right.
on their tablets and their phones?
Right. You know me well because I do feed off of the energy of the people. And I will say, though, it's been really special. I've had those moments that I've had while I was on the road to hold tight to memorably, if that is a word. So I've been just keeping that in mind, keeping those faces in mind, and also looking at who have been supporting me. So I think one of the notes that I've been getting while doing a lot of the virtual performances, it is to look in the camera and act as if you're looking into the eyes of the people. And so you'll see me in the cameras, like even on a recent performance that I did for BET, I was singing my heart out, and I really had those who like love on me, who support me and say, you minister to me in such a way that I've not really experienced before. I keep that in my mind, and I keep it, those faces, those Instagram names or Facebook names, I think about them. And so it is completely different being in an empty room. However, I will say, for those performances when I'm super hard on myself, I kind of can do little cheat things in the virtual performances because I can stop and start over. Whereas if you mess up, while you're in front of the group and community of people, you got to keep it going. And if we either gonna laugh at it or have it on tape or record, and we just got to keep it going. So it has been different, but I'm loving it. I'm grateful, no complaints. I do miss touching and loving on people. They say that that's scientifically proven. When we get a hug from someone, it kind of sends a shock through your body. So I think that God meant for us to touch and love on each other, but I'm enjoying what we have.
Now, it's been a whirlwind of a period for you in your life. Your new record, which by all accounts you say it's your best, and you love every song on it. There are anthems on it that's become your personal declaration,
Yeah.
which you've said it's been the birth of some of the things happening in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the movie. And I'm sure you won't get tired of talking about the movie because it was very personal to you. And then, of course, the moment you just spoke about, closing out the BET Awards,
Yeah.
which for any artist is a massive thing. I wanted to ask you on that particular point, when you were singing with your mother, there was a point your eyes glazed over. And I thought, I wonder what she's thinking about, what particular situation, because you sounded like you were, it looked very personal. It didn't sound like you were doing a performance for BET. It sounded like it was a moment of personal testimony.
Yeah.
So I wanted to find out what was going on in your mind as you were singing that song.
Well, as you mentioned, there are so many songs that are like declarations for me in my life. So I've been blown away. Like, though we're in this pandemic and I have been affected by it personally, I lost my grandmother by the virus, and it affected my grandfather. I had the virus myself. My uncle had it. So it literally has come to our home. However, my grandfather is making progress. So I just was thinking of all of that in addition to all of the promises that God was yet delivering in my life. And I wanted to convince someone else with my song by saying, listen, I know what it's like to be in this space when it's like, well, when is it going to break for me? When is it going to happen for me? And so if you're talking about, this personal moment that maybe you kind of discerned in my eyes, it really is a personal thing for me. And I was delivering through song that if you stay before the Lord and lay your worries at his feet, I promise you, he will not let you down. Like, I've been so emotional out of gratitude and just overwhelmed with You know how it talks about, and I used to tease people when they say, I feel full, or I feel his presence and I feel full while in that space. Literally, when I'm delivering these songs, that's what I have. Like I am in shock that these things are happening for me. And so I just wanted to deliver. Plus, considering all that is happening, you know, with Black Lives Matter, the police brutality, everything that is happening, all because of the color of our skin. A lot of us don't feel safe. And so I'm like, not only in this space of happiness and gratitude, but I'm also saying something has to break, because I'm thinking about the protection of myself, my family, and just those that are out there that I don't know to call. So that is where that's probably what you were picking up from my heart. And that is me praying through the song. So you know how you have everybody has a different way of prayer. Some of us get on our knees faithfully, or some of us just go through the day and have a casual conversation with the Lord. And so that is my way of communication through songs. Like, it's not just me ministering to somebody, but it's me actually saying, God, you got to do it, you know? So that was that moment.
Now, by the way, I hope that as we speak, you would do more of that, and just let's flash that thing for me.
My ring.
There you go, Jordan.
Yes, Jordan. You put a ring on it.
But for someone, I mean, the reason we're talking, and we could really talk about a whole load of things. I mean, Donald Lawrence, who's a great brother and a friend, speaks so highly of you. We could talk about family history. We could talk about musicality. We could talk about finding your voice as a singer. We could talk about techniques that helped you from losing your voice in the early days to where you are now. But the reason we're here is because of your virtual tour. And there will be people connecting because it's virtual, thankfully, from all over the world. But for someone who's considering it, is there really a way for them, since you're not with them? And, you know, a lot of us feel like you have to be physically there to feel the anointing, to get the breakthrough and the likes. Are there any stories or testimonies you have in your journey? Because you're very busy online. Your YouTube channel is, for anyone who hasn't experienced your YouTube channel, they should go there, because that's a whole experience by itself. Are there any stories you get from your keychain lot about how God has ministered to them on the digital platforms as you've told your story, shared your song?
Absolutely. And just how, you know how I don't know if you've seen Lion King, but I still cry when Scar let Mufasa go over the cliff in that stampede on Lion King. So if we still have those kinds of emotions from just movies, then you must believe that you can feel the spirit and the presence of God, through the screen. So I love the Lord that he's that big and he's so out of the box, that he makes sure that his children knows that he's with us. And so to answer your question, I saw some comments. A friend of mine screenshotted what they were watching while the virtual tour was happening. And they sent me pictures of what a lot of the people were saying, some of my supporters, like in the keychain, like you've mentioned, and somebody said, I'm giving my life over to Christ. I have to. Wow. Like they put it in exclamation marks. And a lot of people were like, oh, I'm crying. Somebody said, please go get me a bucket because I can't stop crying. Wow. And then a lot of people were quoting, some of the statements that I made that I guess ministered to them in that moment. Or they talked about, how powerful it was when we showed the videos of the protest for Black Lives Matters. And they quoted my mother, and then when my aunts came in for the South show, because we just did the South region, they were just so blessed to see our family come together. So, and then we danced. Some people said I'm shouting. They posted videos of themselves shouting with me on the tour while I was on the screen. So you definitely still get to have a God experience. And that was my goal. That was my objective. Like I made sure that we prayed every day, and we were still praying and covering and asking the Lord that he just completely, just forcefully go through the screen and the airwaves. And people are saying, I've been blessed by it. If they've not said I've been blessed by it. They're saying I'm inspired by it. And we're definitely having those, I'll call them modern day revival like moments.
Wow. Now, the term keychain, that's the term used for the Kiki family, as it were, those who love and follow you. Call them keychain because...
Yes, the keychain. It's just our group. Our group. I love them so much, and I actually tell them it's not just about me, but there are so many young men and young women who have connected because we share, like you said, my music in common. But they become friends. They become spiritual and prayer partners. So I'm telling them all the time, it's not about me, and I don't want it to be like this glorified Key fan club. It's not that. It's literally us coming together as the body of Christ. And like you said, the Key family, but they're my family. So now I'm covering them. We've been doing meet and greets for the virtual tour. And now I'm learning their names. If it's not their real names, I know their Instagram names, and God knows their real names. So
for the tour, there's an option for me to have a meet and greet. So if I'm in London, South London, or I'm in Holland, and I want to watch you, I can have meet and greet with you as well as the
yes. Yep. If you book a VIP ticket, and we do virtual meet and greets, and I literally have met, I think, in the meet and greet over 1,000 people thus far.
Good Lord.
Yeah. That's special.
But we're wrapping up. You've talked about the moment we're in for you personally, losing your grandmom, and I mean it seemed like it's just been a roller coaster for you. There's been that moment. There's been the engagement, which I was watching the video of it, and I thought there's not very much social distancing going on here. And let me tell you what was one of the hilarious thing about that. Your parents hugged you, kissed you, and everything, and then later on you see your mom wearing a mask. I'm like, mother, you already exposed yourself. What
right.
But this moment that is very visible to the world, this Black Lives Matter moment, how has that affected your relationship with white Christians in your country?
I basically have been paying attention and observing how they're responding to it. And I'm taking it, into consideration, and basically living by perspective, if you allow me to say it that way. Basically just kind of considering, what did I notice that they did to bring attention to what needs to be better? What does love mean to them when it comes to this Christ-like walk? Do you agree with it? I need to know. I don't have, the hard conversations, and that's just me, where I just go up to them and like, what do you think? Because to be honest, well, I'll just stop there and say, but I will say, I was going to say a lot more than I should, but I have been paying attention to what they're posting, to what they're saying. Are you saying anything? If you're not saying anything, then I have some questions. And
what have you been saying to young people? Because you have, just on Instagram alone, you have over 1 million young people following you, and then you got Facebook and all the rest of it. What have you been saying to those who subscribe to you, who look to you, who have been feeling the pain of the moment, who are angry and want to do something? What have you been saying to them in order to give them perspective?
I've basically been saying, like I said, be observant, watch your surroundings. The word of God says to watch and pray. And I think that, if we keep that in context, and do it by exactly what the word says, and that is just to pay attention to your surroundings, see where you are. I've even been encouraging them to pray while you're watching, but change your prayers. So now it's, Lord, I need you so much in my life, to where you're guiding me and telling me where to be, so that I'm not in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know where the white supremacist is. And unfortunately, I'm living in a day where they are against me because of my skin color. So I've been praying and encouraging them, Father, give me instruction. If not, we're in the last and evil days. This is what the word of God talks about. So now I need to understand, if I'm living in the last and evil days, these are days that the book of Revelation talked about, then there are some adjustments that I have to make, and there's an awareness that I also need to walk in. And God will give you this insight that not the unbeliever would have, if that makes sense. So I've just been encouraging them to be very prayerful, stay on our A game, because the odds are against us. It's unfortunate, but to be aware of where you come from, respect your elders, respect those who have paved the way and made sacrifices for you, and really learn to support each other. And also not giving the world an opportunity to see us fighting each other, because we already have enough opposition, from others, from other races or whatever it is. So I definitely just have been encouraging them to be prayerful, watchful, to consider all things, and to be vigilant. But that's pretty much, I could go on and on, but I think it's really to be prayerful most of all.
So we've talked some a few things about the tour, the virtual tour. You've let us know that there's an opportunity for me to meet and greet with you. What else would your fans in London or in Lagos, what would they experience when they connect with you online? Are they going to get a best of Clarke Sisters songs? Is it just going to be the album? What's the experience going to be for everyone that connects with you on the tour?
The experience, which will be in the UK, or the international experience, will be July 25th. So I'm really excited about that. But you will have basically back down memory lane. If you've been riding the journey with me since I think I started when I was 9 with my mom, but I officially put out my first record when I was 14 or 15. And so if you remember songs from then, you'll have those songs there. And then, of course, you'll have the material from this new or latest project that is self-titled Kierra. So it keeps happening. Something has to break, things you do, and all that. So it's really special. And you'll also hear some of the songs that I've been featured on as well.
And finally, who's your favorite Clarke Sisters singer? And what's your favorite song?
My favorite is... I'll say, I have so many favorites from the Clarke Sisters, but I'll say We Are More Than Conquerors is one of my favorites from the Clarke Sisters.
Your favorite singer?
My mommy.
We won't trouble you today with your top 5 singers that Travis trapped you with. Kierra, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm sure, your London family, the Keychain here in London, can't wait to see you again.
Premier Gospel.